We can bring in our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons, now. Rob, a short while ago, we had the Turkish president who declared a 3-month state of emergency. Could this disaster we're seeing in Turkey, we spoke to our correspondent, Shona Bhattacharya, she explained just apocalyptic scenes. Given the scale of this crisis, could this affect, potentially even delay the election?
It could do. I mean, the state of emergency, as you said, is for 3 months. That's just before the elections are meant to take place in May. It may come down to a political calculation in the end by President Erdogan. He'll look and see how this is playing out nationally, whether it's having a negative effect on the way that the government is perceived in Turkey at the moment, and make a judgment based on that. He could delay could continue the state of emergency for a bit longer, although the cut-off point for holding the elections is meant to be June the 18th of this year. So that doesn't give him, theoretically, at least, an awful lot of room to play with there. But, you know, it is theoretically possible. And Recep Tayyip Erdogan will remember the last time there was a major earthquake like this in Turkey, back in 1999 in Izmit, not very far away from where this earthquake took place, again on a massive scale, 7.6 on the Richter scale. Almost 20,000 people died. And although the election wasn't until 3 years after that, one of the factors that was believed to have played a part in the defeat of the coalition government at the time was that earthquake and the inadequacy, or the perceived inadequacy, of the government's response to it. And one of the criticisms was of the failure of the government to ensure that proper safety standards and building codes were observed. I'm sure President Erdogan will remember that date because it was Erdogan and his AK party which came into power in 2002 after that, and partly as a consequence of it. So he may well be thinking about that, at least in the back of his mind, and worrying too that some of the same criticisms could come round this time.
Let's talk about Erdogan for a second, because could this, I mean, over the next 3 months, I think he's going to be judged, it's fair to say, and that could either keep him in or out of office, because we know how he's done when it comes to the economy, rampant inflation, what have you, in Turkey. So it comes down to this.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that could go wrong for him. On the other hand, you know, he may get a fillip from it as well. You know, but you're right. You know, the economy is not in good shape at the moment. Inflation is very high at 80%. Unemployment is growing. The national currency, Turkish lira, has fallen by 30% against the dollar over the last year, having fallen before that against the dollar as well. But, you know, the government in the last few weeks has been going on a spending spree, building houses for the poor, making it possible for people to retire early. Might sound strange in France, but they're talking about that. And it's going to be a calculation on the part of Erdogan, because this is going to cost a lot of money. You know, but it'll, in the end, I think it'll be, you know, how does he perceive that this is playing out with the Turkish public? He may get, as I was suggesting, he may get a boost because if the response is seen to be well organised and effective, that may work in his favour, and there may be a sort of moment of national solidarity, this moment of national mourning. He may get that benefit, but there is a risk for him that things could go badly wrong, that there will be criticism because of the perceived failures, if there are any, of the rescue effort. And criticism is already coming in, despite the fact that the government says it's dispatched 13,000 rescue workers to the affected areas. So
we'll see.
It's going to be a difficult calculation for him.
Thank you very much for that, Rob. Rob Parsons.